Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Classic Elite. This is number 144, and we are back after a 2-week break. So, my name's Scott. I'll be hosting tonight, and I've got Dustin and Josh with me. Josh is for the time being, so we'll get to him first. What's up, man?
Same old, same old. I made it on time.
You did.
Maybe even a few minutes early if you count the fact that I had it up while I was playing games. Skype, I had it up, so I was here.
No, you are. That's awesome. Dustin, what's new your way, dude?
I almost did something really cool.
Almost.
Yeah, I picked up a wireless router for $3 at Goodwill, and I gave it a custom. It worked. I gave it a custom firmware. I set it all up so I could use it as a repeater for my current Wi-Fi, and when you use it as one Wi-Fi router as a repeater for another one, it like halves the speed. So it kind of defeated the purpose of having a repeater.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah,
it had to be fun tinkering with all that stuff, though. Yeah,
it was totally. It was a cool experience.
Nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess before we jump in, I do want to make a note that we had some audio issues. Well, Josh is taking off for something.
Oh, no.
He's down on the ground. Are we losing him already? Anyways, I think we have some audio issues fixed that we were having.
Yeah.
So, what was that, Josh? What's going on at your place? Are you already done?
No, well, the kids got here, but it'd be fine. But I stood up and I started to run, and I hit my toe, which is broken. And then I collapsed in the floor.
I was afraid of that.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I'm in a weird pain, tingly sensation in my foot.
Like right now as we speak?
It's going away. Like, it's getting much better. Like,
yeah.
Now it's the point where if something hits it, it doesn't hurt until I hit it on something, and then it's like sharp pain, and then it ceases after like a minute.
So, Dustin, let me ask you something.
Okay.
When was the last time you hit your toe on something? Because it sounds like Josh is doing this all the time.
What? Now that it's broken, that it happens all the time.
Okay.
You know?
Kind of like when you get a paper cut and you don't realize you like touch that spot of your hand a whole bunch.
Yeah, like you get a paper cut, all of a sudden you'll never cut so many lemons in your life.
Yeah, right. Okay. I get what you're saying. I just had to give you a little bit of crap for it. Uh-oh. We got someone a little upset with you. Uh-oh. We might be losing Josh a little early. And this is a bummer because we were going to be talking about getting platinums in Shadow of Mordor, platinums in Bloodborne, Witcher 3, ESO, Project Cars, Batman Arkham Knight. And I don't know if we'll get to much of that. So, I don't know, Josh. What do you think? Think you might need to take off?
I'll be good for a minute.
Okay.
I can talk about my stuff. Hey, Keith, say hi.
Hi, Josh's friend.
Keith's been playing games. Keith, tell him real quick what you've been playing.
Yeah, what games you been playing?
Tell her in here.
Monster High.
Monster High. Yeah.
Okay.
And what did we find at the library today?
Scribble Knots.
Oh, that's that's an awesome game.
Awesome game. And what's the other game we got for Wii U?
Bobby.
Not Barbie. Toad's Treasure Tracker.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Our library's awesome. And the library had Project Cars. See?
And it had Batman.
Oh, and it had Batman.
Nice.
Not the new one.
Which one? Origins? Asylum?
It had Origins.
Okay. Very cool. She's adorable, man.
Oh, thanks.
So, I also got a text message from Mike T. He just IM'd us in chat. And he got an Xbox One, which is crazy. He's probably going to try to sell it to me now.
What kind of crazy deal did he get? How did he found a way to get this thing for $100 with 10 games?
Somehow Michael find a deal with it. I have no idea. All I got was a picture.
The one that he got the $100. It didn't cost him $100.
Yeah. He gets a console and the game. It was like Tony used to be like that. I swear that I could give Tony a Chrono Trigger, and in 2 years he'd have 10 grand.
Yeah.
Like he'd just keep flipping it, and eventually, like. But yeah. Welcome to the show. We've had a little bit of a rocky start, but I think we'll be good to go from here on out.
It's all my fault.
No, it's all good.
No,
dude.
it's all right. No, I tripped. I fell. I brought in a special guest without asking. I know. Yeah.
I like the spontaneous special guests.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's better than not having you, man. So, I don't know. Let's.
I just told her I fell, and she's dying laughing.
Let's flip stuff around a little bit, and let's talk about what we've been playing, because news is a little on the older side. This week's news was a little light, and last week's news was a lot, but it's kind of stale by now, so I want to save that towards the end. So, Josh, you've been getting some platinums, man. This is crazy.
Yeah, so I've never had a platinum, right, on PlayStation. I've 100% completed achievements on the 360, but never on PS3, Vita, or whatever. So in the last week or two, I don't know when I did Mordor, but I platinumed Shadow of Mordor.
I didn't realize you were that far into that game.
Yeah, well, I had done everything on the first map. I had to finish the second map.
Okay.
And I completed the story, so I just kind of sat down over a week or whatever and played here and there and collected the rest of them. It's actually a really fun platinum to get. Maybe
I should go back to that game.
Yeah, you should. Like, and Dustin too, right? Like the platinum in this game is fun because there are the things where it's like collect so many of this item, but there are also a lot of them where it's like, you know, have the enemies do this to each other or kill a guy this way, you know.
There's one where you get like a grunt all the way up to War Chief and then you kill him. Something like that? Yeah. I did that one. That one actually, it's no problem to do it if you're not trying to do it, like intentionally. But when you're going for the trophy, like it seems like everybody and their brother is trying to start riots with the guy you're trying to take up the ranks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's just constantly running into trouble to where he might die before he becomes a war chief. But no, it's a great one. And also Mike T. Oh, thanks, man. He'd say congrats. I platinumed Bloodborne like 20 minutes ago.
Oh, so you just did. That's why you're itching to talk about it so much.
Yeah, and Holly got it about 25 minutes ago. We watched the video, Mike. Thank you for the I don't know how you say it, Amidala fight or whatever. That Holly calls it Iron Hole.
Egg burritos.
Egg burrito, yeah. Like, this thing was tougher than egg burrito. And I'm not sure why, because the rest of the bosses after that in the next dungeon, and even the last boss, nothing compared to that Amidala fight before. But, yeah, we finished it, platinumed, we're done until the DLC comes out.
Oh, okay. That's what I was going to ask, if you're going to wait on any DLC or if you've already sold your copy of the game back.
No, I've talked about it, and Holly is giving me death stares every time I talk about trading Bloodborne. She knows I would regret it. And, we co-op this thing. We do it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really cool. And it's another one that it's not a hard platinum. I mean, the game itself is hard, but the platinum is really just a matter of, like, beating every monster.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of.
Yeah, I like how they're called, like, Chalice missions or something like that.
Yeah, the Chalice dungeons.
Chalice dungeons, yeah. I like how you just go up to a tombstone, get in the dungeon, do what you need to there, and then just move on to the next tombstone. There's not a lot of padding in between what you need to do.
Not necessarily.
From what I've seen, anyways.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. What extends it is sometimes you'll run out of materials to generate a new dungeon.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
And that's where you play an older dungeon. Like you'll go make a random one, or you'll play one you were in before and try to get enough materials to make a dungeon. Because as you start going up in difficulty or depth, whatever, the materials to generate a dungeon are harder to obtain.
Gotcha.
So, but we played enough doing all these bosses and leveling up, it was nothing. We had it. But yeah, 2 platinums.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I can only think of one game that I've actually platinumed. And it's obviously not PlayStation. I don't have a PS4. But the equivalent of it is Super Mario 3D Land on the 3DS. Yeah. I got all that stuff. Before we jump into The Witcher, Josh, just go back to Mike real quick. He did get a white Halo Xbox One, and it cost him negative $376. He did sell his old Xbox One, though. But still.
So he made almost $400?
Yeah. That's Mike for you.
Yeah, he's selling organs or something. That ain't natural.
He's like, I've got he puts his Xbox One on eBay with his kidney.
Yeah. You only need one.
Oh, yeah, you only need one. So, sweet Mike, you'll have to, if the spirit moves, you go ahead and write in, and we'll cover next week how the hell you did that. But yeah, you've also been grinding at the Witcher over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, still going on that. Not as strong here lately because I've been jumping in other stuff, but I put something up on the site to sort of detailing the game. Like, it's great, but it's not perfect. It's got that, what do we call it last time?
Euro jank.
Yeah, it's got that. But man, that game, like playing other stuff and then going back to The Witcher, it just makes it stand out so much how great that writing is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that game is, combat's, it's all right, and the world looks really great, but it's not stellar. But the writing, like, you keep coming back to find out what happens to characters and to see how these choices you make really change things in the world. Yeah, it's cool.
I feel like I need to name this episode American Jank because I've been playing Batman Arkham Knight on PC.
Yeah,
so
that's not jank.
I got a lot to say there.
It's broken.
Not for everybody. Not for me. I got pretty lucky. So I'll get to that in a bit. But okay, so can you spoil one of the side quests? Like, give me an example of where in The Witcher 3 you made some sort of a decision that affected it in a different way than you were expecting it to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Trying to think off the top of my head. I can't think of anything in specifically. There's been a lot of times where I've talked to someone and, like, I might kill them. Like, it'll come up and it starts a fight, and I don't think it's going to be a fight, and then come to find out that they were needed for some other side mission, and it's just failed. Like, it's sorry you killed them. You cannot collect that card or do that other thing. It's out of the question. There is no workaround. I've had some of the main side quests where it's almost Game of Thrones like, where you think this is a super important character and they're going to be there throughout the game, and in my game they died, but in Holly's game she made a different choice and the character lived.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, and not just that, I mean, it totally changed what happened afterward. Like, I was done and she had follow-up quests that kept going.
Okay.
So like Witcher 2 was so harsh. It wasn't open world, but it had a pivotal point where you could diverge in the story and go one way or another way, and depending on where you went, you were blocked off from massive chunks of that game.
Okay. That sounds kind of like a bummer.
Yeah, so this one is just more like the shock value and the way people react to stuff. The fact that if someone dies or you miss out on an item or something, that could be it. That could just be the end of it.
Yeah.
Which is cool in a way, except for when you really want something, which is why you save often.
Yeah, I guess so you can, like, go back and redo it if you need to. Like, are there multiple save states? Okay.
Yeah, it saves all the time, and then you can save yourself a lot.
Okay.
Which I do frequently, because sometimes, I'll be talking to somebody and be like, oh, they hate me now. Or, oh, I talked to this person and Holly shouts at me and she's like, they'll never come back.
Yeah, see, I've got 2 Telltale games right now in my back catalog that I need to get to. I've got an episode of Game of Thrones, and I have Walking Dead Season 2. I haven't completed all those yet. And this sounds like it scratches that kind of an itch as far as, not the gameplay at all, but the way that your decisions are affecting what's actually happening in the game.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if I want to add another one of those to my plate. I think if people would come in with The Witcher 3, because it's going to win a lot of people's Game of the Year.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
But nobody's raving about the combat being fun.
It's okay. Like it's the best it's ever been.
I guess I haven't been in any of the other Witcher games, but just hearing people talk about their opinions of it and things like that, I guess I just don't believe that I would care for this game that much, but the story stuff is intriguing. I'm just not sure if I can take that on.
But you'd probably play on PC, which I've watched videos and just heard people talking about how much better it is on PC. Not just in how it runs and looks, but it just feels like the entire game was meant to be played with mouse and keyboard.
Oh, okay. I'd still probably use a controller.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's good on controller. But just the way he moves and rolls around sometimes, you're just like, okay, this is really like... I don't feel like I have the full range of motion like I would in a traditional 3D platformer or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels more like, oh, I can roll in one of these like 4 directions, like WSAD.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Dustin, have you got any interest in playing The Witcher 3 at all?
Yeah. From all the stuff I've been hearing, it sounds great.
With all the story stuff and like the ability to kind of grind things out, a lot of people seem to compare it to Skyrim in terms of the scope.
Mm-hmm.
So it's made me wonder how close you were to actually picking it up, because it sounds like a game that you'd like quite a lot.
Yeah, if I find it cheap, I'll definitely go for it.
I had a friend of mine text me and ask if I had played Batman, The Witcher 3, and another game, and he ended up choosing The Witcher, and I hadn't played The Witcher but thought that he probably made the best choice. He said he played the other Arkham games and didn't really get into them, which is crazy to me. Arkham Asylum especially.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, it's a lot more of the same of that, so... I mean, there's some certain tweaks that I'll go through here in a little bit when Josh was talking about Batman. But I was like, I think you made the right call with Witcher 3.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Josh, how far along are you, would you say?
In The Witcher, I think I'm somewhere in the neighborhood of like 70 hours or so.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Well, no, you don't want to see the Bloodborne hours. Like, this Witcher's not too bad. Yeah, and I've been doing a lot of side quest stuff because similar to, and I won't say it's directly like Mass Effect, I'll just kind of relate it to that. In Mass Effect 2, the more stuff you did in the game before the final act, the better off you were, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Witcher 3, and I hear Batman is that way as well, like doing all the side stuff for as much as you can before completing the main story put you in a better spot.
Yeah, from a Batman perspective, I'd say that's true.
Yeah, and Witcher is definitely that way for sure.
It's actually a big complaint of mine with Batman.
Yeah, see, I have a lot of complaints about Batman, but that's here in a minute. But no, I think I'm probably, I don't know. Holly's going to tell me I'm like halfway through Witcher. She says halfway. She's near the end, but she stopped to go off and try to do more side stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, it's been great so far, and the nice thing is, the way when you leave that game and jump back in, it always has this voiceover and some images, and it sort of helps you get back into where you left off.
Oh, okay.
Like last time on Witcher 3.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how the Telltale games are with Game of Thrones. They give you a nice little recap because, you know, it's a month or two in between episodes, so it's tough to remember. That's cool that in a game as vast as Witcher 3, they're able to still get some story points for you. So you can take a week off and not feel like you can't get back to it.
Yeah, it's totally... Control-wise, it gets a little weird, but it totally works story-wise. And, you know, the narrative is the narrative. Like, you're going to do certain quests regardless of your choice.
Oh, okay.
Because, I mean, it's a video game.
Yeah.
So.
Eventually you're going to have to go get 10 socks and bring them back, right?
Yeah, 10 enchanted socks or something. But speaking of enchanted socks, I bought Elder Scrolls Online.
See, this is a problem. If we would have casted last week, I might have been able to help you avoid that.
I know. We just kept talking about it, and Holly and I had this discussion. I'm like, I don't want it. I don't need it, but I really want to play it, and it'd be fun because we're almost done with Bloodborne. At that point, now we are. But I got it, and she's gonna tell me big thumbs up for that. Yeah, see. So
I told you that my buddy has been staying over here. He's in the middle of a situation, so he's been crashing at my place. So he bought ESO, and I've been watching him play it a lot. That game just looks so boring. The combat looks like Fable.
Yeah.
The combat looks real repetitive. The environments all look the same to me. I've watched quite a bit of it. Like, I'll have the Tigers game on in the background and just kind of keep peering over because he brought his TV over, so we've got 2 TVs in my living room right now, and he's just over there playing ESO, and I don't see any boss fights. But I don't know. Like, it just, there's no dragons coming out of the sky for him.
There are no dragons this early. Dragons didn't come back until Skyrim, which is like 500 years later or something.
Oh, okay. So I mean, but just when I'm looking at this game, it looks like a last generation game, an early last generation game, and he keeps playing it, so there's got to be something there. My buddy Evan that I play a lot of Heroes of the Storm with, he bought it and he really likes the game. He's playing it with his brother a bunch.
So I mean, does anyone
just try to sell me on it, because I'm watching and people play this and it looks awful.
Okay, so let me ask you this though. You said your buddy was playing it, and I think it was the guy that's staying with you right now. Was playing it, and then he got a little burnt out, but now he's back into it.
He's back into it, yeah.
Okay, I don't know what it is. Like, I didn't love it on PC, but it was okay. Like, it was good. I did the first video on it and liked it. But something about playing with the controller, being able to sit back, something about, like, me and Holly can just, like, run through a dungeon or delve or whatever. Like, that was appealing for us just to kind of have something to play together.
Okay.
That, and story stuff's actually not bad in it.
There is story in it?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't look like it.
Well, it depends on how you play. Like, you could totally avoid tons of story or just skip it really quickly. But if you want to, like, stop and listen to NPCs, talk to people, read the books, it's that kind of...
Now, have you experienced any issues with having random chatter from other people come into your game?
I haven't. I've heard Holly tell me stories because I only had it. I've had it for like 2 days now, and I played a little bit. She's played a lot more, but I've heard her talk about people. What were they doing, babe? Were they growling?
They were growling at each other this morning.
Yeah, she had 2 guys growling at each other this morning.
See, yeah, like I'm hearing. So I'm watching them play this, and I'm hearing iPhones go off, and.
Does he have a mic on? Can he turn it off? You can turn the chat off.
I guess, I don't know, maybe he...
Yeah, because I opt out of it. Every time I jump in the game, I turn chat off.
In this situation, it's probably smart.
Yeah, well, there's no text chat. That's the weirdest thing about it. Like, there's no traditional MMO, like, chat box window.
Yeah, exactly. Probably because it'd be so cumbersome to try to type with a joystick. Like, even if you had a good radial menu instead of a standard keyboard, it would be kind of a pain in the ass, I think, to try to type stuff out with your controller. And because PS4 doesn't have that attachment that the 360 did. Do you remember that thing?
Oh,
the little
like
keyboard that you could put in the bottom of your controller?
That's true, but I mean, why not let you use a like a standard USB keyboard? I mean, you can do that in yeah, Final Fantasy 14. You can actually put mouse and keyboard on your PS4, like plug it in USB, and play it just like you would on the PC. Same UI and everything.
That's pretty cool.
I don't know the deal with ESO. Maybe just because they want it to look more like an offline Elder Scrolls game.
Yeah,
maybe they want to fool people with that,
Mm-hmm.
Don't let them think it's an MMO because it's mostly solo anyway. But I don't know. It's fun. I think it'll be a good time. For some reason, I got that itch real bad to play it, and I've been enjoying myself so far. I think the controller and the menu overhaul to be more like Skyrim has helped quite a bit.
So Dustin, I mean, you were a real big Skyrim fan.
Mm-hmm.
This is a $60 game with no subscription fee. Have you watched any of this game? Have you followed it at all? Is it something that has your attention in any way?
No, I instantly lost attention when MMO was mentioned.
Okay. Which is weird. I mean, I guess maybe it's not that weird. When you grind for games, you're trying to break them. You can't really grind and break an MMO.
True dad.
You can break an MMO. Sorry.
Would you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if you play for 1,000 hours, yes, you can get so leveled up that you can beat people in certain areas. But the way Dustin plays games, he wants to do that in like 100 hours, not 1,000. So, okay. What else? Anything more to say about it?
Nothing else about that. I'll give you guys an update here the next week or two.
Cool.
But, two other things on my list real quick. I picked up, I showed you Project Cars from the library.
Yeah.
I've been real interested in buying it, but on the fence because I don't know enough about it. I like Forza a whole lot, but this is like straight up sim. It's just that. There isn't, how to say it? There's not a career mode in the sense like there is in Forza or Horizon. There are careers, but it's just a matter of like, what type of vehicle do you want to drive? Okay, do a whole bunch of those races.
This just recently came out on Steam too, didn't it?
Yeah.
That was a PS4 copy you were holding up?
Yeah.
Okay. I've heard like Drew Scanlon from Giant Bomb talk about it, I think. Yeah.
It's pretty good, actually. I played a couple races here before the show, so not a real big impression, but it had a lot of options, ton of customization. The fact that you can go in there and just tweak about everything, even visuals on the PS4. I could turn off certain lighting effects and things.
Really?
Yeah, change almost every element of the HUD, decide if I want tire wear to be fast or slow. Do I want it not to wear at all? Do I want fuel consumption? Do I want damage to be visual, or do I want it to actually take effect and take effect of the way I drive?
I'd almost have to go right to an FAQ there because I wouldn't know where to even begin messing around with that stuff.
I picked novice because it pretty much meant like, damage is only visual and no fuel, no tire wear.
Do you get a guideline that like you do in Forza where?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And you can tweak that too.
Nice.
I have that on right now. Yeah.
I love those.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I set it up to be like Forza as much as possible, and I think I just said a minute ago, the game's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It really is. It's very pretty.
Nice frame rate and everything. Does it hold?
So far, yeah.
Okay.
So far, yeah.
No dips or hitches or anything?
No. The only thing I've had a problem with is the menu was kind of slow.
Okay.
But I'm not sure because it was still installing. Like, it got to the point where it let me play.
Oh, okay.
So maybe after, I play for like, an hour or two and it's completely installed, that'll be different.
Gotcha.
But no, it's good. I'm definitely digging it and would pick it up for $30, but for 60 I'm sort of like, maybe, because it doesn't have as many features or cars. But what does have cars is Batman.
Batman's got a car, and it grew on me, man. I hated. I shouldn't say I hated it. At first, I was like, I was kind of lukewarm on it, and by the end of the game, I really enjoyed the Batmobile.
You would. No, I don't know. Like, I quit. Like, I listened to Giant Bombcast this week, and where Jeff was talking about where he stopped shortly after, an early story segment where it was very heavily using the Batmobile for puzzles. I quit around there, like not too long after that.
Yeah.
With a similar feel, but hearing the other guys chime in a bit, saying like that's way less, has me interested to maybe give it another go.
I would recommend it. I've played, I think Steam says 24 hours so far. I completed the full regular mission, and I'm working on side mission stuff.
Yeah.
And They did a really good job with the pacing, I think, overall. It is early on very Batmobile heavy.
Yeah.
And both combat and puzzles, but it gets less to be that way. And the Batmobile later in the game is used in some pretty interesting ways, where at the point where you quit, I doubt that you were using the Batmobile in a remote capacity, where it was
a couple times
turns into an RC car or whatever.
Yeah.
Later in the game, there's some cool things where you have Batman in one area doing something, and then you switch over and remotely drive the car around and hook onto stuff and solve puzzles that way.
Oh, so it's brothers, right? Batman is brothers.
Batman has brothers.
Like you and the Batmobile are tied together by a rope.
Yeah.
Got to save your dad.
Yep.
I get it. Yeah.
At the end, Batman dies, and the Batmobile has to continue.
Oh.
That's why it said that on the back of our book. It said, "This is how the Batman dies."
That is in the trailer.
Yeah.
It does say, "Tonight Batman dies," or "This is how Batman dies tonight," or something like that.
Yeah. Which
So.
I want to play it. Like, I'm very interested in the lore and stuff from the previous games because I was hooked on them both. But this one, for being as great as it is, like the visuals are amazing, the gameplay is, solid, and they've tacked on more features than ever.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Maybe it's the pacing, maybe it's the Batmobile. Something about those first few hours, it did not grab me like the last two games did, or even Origins for that matter.
See, Origins, it took me a long time to get into. That one felt really rough around the edges.
Yeah.
There were times in Origins when I was playing it that it wouldn't prompt me. I'd be standing right in front of like an elevator button or something like that, and I knew that I had to press it, but it just wouldn't give me the press A prompt. So I'd be walking around in circles like an idiot, and then eventually like it would show up.
Well, that's a technical thing,
But it was pretty common in Origins.
Yeah.
So I will hold that against that game. You don't run into that so much. And I remember in Arkham Knight, in Arkham City and Arkham Asylum, you know how you spend a decent amount of time in air vent shafts and stuff, and you have to mash A a whole bunch to open up grates?
Yeah.
That's still in this game, but they minimize it a whole bunch. And that's a really good example of things that were getting to be tedious in the other games that they sprinkled into this one, but they didn't make it really cumbersome, so you weren't getting burnt out on the same mechanic. So that was something I liked a lot, was the design felt a little tighter in this game for me.
Yeah, for sure. And other things like with the vents, I noticed some of those you could use your grapple gun and shoot right to them and then go in them immediately.
Yeah, exactly. And while you were in the vents, you moved around very quickly.
Yeah, you were not slow at all this time around.
Yeah, so that was cool.
Yeah, and I don't know if this was in the last one, but when an enemy was eyeballing the grate, like the part where they could see through potentially, like when they'd been alerted, it would highlight red. Like it would have this red color to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, little things. Like there's all kinds of little visual indicators in this game. And that's one thing I will say good about the Batmobile. As much as it was getting on my nerves in the first couple hours, when the enemies were targeting you, they had so many lines and things on the screen. It looked very hectic, but it was very readable.
Absolutely. It was really, when you were in the line of fire, it was very easy to understand where you needed to move to get out of the line of fire.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, Dustin, have you seen much about Batman?
Mm-mm.
No? So, one of the weirdest things about this one is about a third of the game, and I wouldn't say that much, but a good chunk of the game is spent dealing with Batmobile stuff. And while you're in the Batmobile, Batman turns into a shooter. It's
cool.
Really, really strange. You have a mechanic where you drive normally, and then all of a sudden you go into like a siege mode where the tires go out to the side and guns show up, and you've got missiles and little machine gun cannon that fires out. And it just completely changes the way that the combat works in this game. You can mow down guys with it, which is weird for Batman to be shooting people.
They're non-lethal rounds.
They're non-lethal rounds. Yeah, whatever.
What about the missiles?
They're non-lethal missiles.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, when it came to this game in general, I really, really liked it, and I would have to agree with some of the guys over at Giant Bomb and rating this as maybe I liked Arkham Asylum more than City, and I think that I liked this more than City as well.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
See, to me, Asylum is the best.
Asylum's the best, yeah.
Yeah.
That one was so revolutionary, and it was just like a game I hadn't really ever played before. So I really enjoyed that. But I don't know. Have you been following much of the news about the PC port? Either of you guys?
That it catches on fire on occasion?
That it basically, they really shat the bed when it came to releasing this port. Now, I'm one of the lucky ones. So a lot of the issues came around crashing. The game would crash pretty frequently. A lot of people, even though the game was locked at 30 frames a second, which is pretty substandard, the game would be locked at 30 frames a second even if you had a high graphics card, and people were still having issues where when they were in the Batmobile it would go like 15 frames a second. So
yeah, that's a bummer for sure, because I don't know, it's already locked at 30. You guys see the comic?
Yeah, I did. So we got show art now.
Yeah.
But Batman does kill in this game.
He killed in what was it, that the second Tim Burton movie? Have you watched it?
Batman Returns.
He's like throwing guys off buildings or whatever, and he catches some guy on fire with the Batmobile.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember him catching someone on fire. I do vividly remember being in the theater seeing that movie and watching the Penguin bite that guy's like face off.
Oh, that's great.
It was so gross.
It could be worse. My nose could be gushing blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What?" Yeah. So I don't know, Josh. What were some of the other issues that you had with it? I know the pacing or a little Batmobile heavy for you. Was there anything else that stood out?
The city is awesome. Maybe it's too big.
So he's saying we had a visitor again. So, but he's saying that it might be too big. I didn't sense that at all.
Really, I don't know. Like me when I was trying to like glide around instead of using the Batmobile, so that could have been my fault.
I did learn. Yeah, I did learn that as the game went on, they didn't feel like they nerfed the flying, but they definitely made navigation in such a way that they encouraged you to use the Batmobile to get around. And it wasn't like Grand Theft Auto driving or a lot of the Borderlands driving where you're going like a really far distance. Once you were in the Batmobile, even if it was 1,500 meters away, you got there really, really quickly with the Batmobile. And it's really hard to get stuck on stuff, so you just kind of plow through everything, like cars, pedestrians, construction cones, light posts, all that kind of stuff. You just breeze right through it. The thing's pretty indestructible. So it's not like you're getting caught on annoying things on the way to your checkpoint. Or like if your checkpoint was across the map, you wouldn't get ambushed all of a sudden by enemy tanks or anything like that.
See, that's the thing. In the early part, I was getting ambushed all the time. It was getting on my nerves.
Oh, okay. I wonder if maybe I just knocked a lot of them out.
Yeah, I know. I guess eventually you can like clear an area of tanks, right?
I think so, yes.
Okay. But and the other thing I'll say, because I'm going to have to get out of here in a second. I apologize for that. But the other thing that got me was just hearing all this stuff about there being multiple endings and having to get the best ending. And that's fine, whatever. Games do this all the time, but I don't know why it bothers me so much in Batman. Probably because I care about the story. But to get the best ending, you have to do everything, including collecting all of the Riddler trophies.
That's my biggest problem with this game. So I get through the story, I beat the story, I'm excited, and then I'm watching. Who was it? Someone on YouTube. I think maybe Kind of Funny Games. And they had mentioned, yeah, it was. And they had mentioned that you needed to beat the main story mission, which is dealing with Arkham Knight and Scarecrow, and then dealing with all these other characters, these ancillary stories that are going on. And you needed to beat all of them to get a better ending than what you get if you just do the main story. And then they let me know that you need to get all the Riddler trophies. So when I was, my plan was to capture all of the extra guys like Penguin and some of the others and get the second good ending, but not the best ending. And I get through all the Riddler trials, and then Riddler just disappears and says, if you want to fight me for real, you have to collect all my Riddler trophies. And at that point, I had 8 out of 243 and said, screw this, I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, when you said the trials, you did all the driving stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
See, and that got on my nerves. It was neat, but the fact that that's required for the best ending just aggravates me. You know,
I agree with that. And I didn't know that going in.
Yeah.
So I totally missed it. I said, screw this, I'm not doing the Riddler trials. I'm just going to main story this whole thing.
Yeah.
And I did very, very little side stuff, and it made the end a bit of a letdown for me. Like, credits didn't roll. When I got to the logical conclusion of the game from the main story perspective, credits didn't roll.
Oh.
So it didn't give me that satisfaction of beating the game. It kind of felt like when you beat an iOS game and there's no even congratulations, you just kind of start again. They're like, you unlock New Game Plus. It's like, okay. But
that
yeah,
sucks because they didn't do that in the previous games.
No.
The ending was the ending, and the other fun stuff was just because you like playing the game.
Yeah, so the fact that they gated some of the good stuff behind these extra missions is a real pain in the ass.
Yeah, and that it turned me off of it. We bought 2 copies because I'm crazy. We got the Arkham Knight edition, which let me go real quick over here.
Okay.
And
this one came with a big statue thing. Yeah.
See it? Yeah, and it let's see. There's a switch. Yeah, it lights up.
Oh, cool.
So I don't know. That was really neat. There's like a cool book and some other stuff that came with it. We got that edition, scooped it up last minute from Amazon, and then I bought a copy day one. And because of all this stuff, I was like, we don't need 2 copies. This isn't like Witcher where her and I both want to like play at the same time when we're loving it. This is the first Batman game where other than Origins, where I said, I'll wait. I'm fine. I may never come back.
Yeah, I think you should.
I probably will, but not for a while. I got other stuff. I want to play more, you know? And I hate that because I was so looking forward to this. And it's not bad, but it's just those things we mentioned that really bum me out.
Yeah. No, I can understand that. For me, it wasn't a hindrance. I'm just going to watch the good endings on YouTube and just count that as I put in my time. And then I'll just tinker around with doing some of the side mission stuff whenever I'm bored. But I guess before you go, you'll get a kick out of how clunky this was to get it working well.
Okay.
So my tally, I had the game just stop working and crash on me 4 times over 24 hours of playing so far. They came out with a patch that fixed a lot of the crashing issues, but I still had 1 crash since then. And day 1, there were brand new drivers from AMD available, and it was really strange. So I would go and try to install the new driver, and whenever I'd pull up the Catalyst Control Center and I could validate what driver edition I had, it would just show the previous beta driver that I had, 15.3, and I needed 15.6 to actually load. So it was a pain in the ass. What I had to do was uninstall all the AMD drivers and do a fresh install of this new beta driver. and it was made specifically for Batman. And I turned off extra rain effects and one other thing, set everything else to high, and I left the INI files alone, and it stayed rock solid at 31 frames a second. It didn't matter if I was jumping into the Batmobile, coming out of the Batmobile, getting in fights with lots of enemies. The frame rate stayed really good. But because it was at 30 frames a second, it almost felt like playing a 360 game.
Garbage. You're saying the game looked and played like garbage. I got it.
No, it actually played pretty decently, but it just... I remember a couple years ago, Brad Shoemaker coming back from like CES or something like that, and he saw Batman being played, and he said the frame rate was terrible, but oh my god, the game looks unbelievably gorgeous. And it wasn't like that. I mean, it looks good enough, and it played really well. But it was just annoying that I had to reinstall my drivers.
So you know what doesn't have drivers?
PS4?
Actually, it does have drivers. But yeah, you know what? You don't have to manually go look for drivers to fix your current game.
I know. And then I was so worried about making the game unstable by editing INI files that I waited till I was done with the story. And once I completed the 100% of the main story quest, I went back in and edited the INI files to see if I could get some more frames a second. And I jump anywhere from 35 to 60. So it's kind of all over the place, which makes it feel a little hitchy at times. So I'm better off just locking it, because when they update, like launch day, Dustin, did you see that they changed the minimum requirements for the game on launch day?
I didn't see that, no.
Yeah, so that's shitty. So you could have bought the game with a graphics card that was originally stated to be the minimum spec, and get the game, and your graphics card might have been too outdated.
Man.
So that was shitty. Luckily, it was a good thing for the Steam refunds. Now, I bought mine through a really shady site. So Tony sent me a link to this like greatgamedeals.com or something like that, and they were selling the Ultimate Edition for $35. So all the DLC, the season pass, all that stuff.
They knew it was a bad port, and they're just like, get rid of these. Hurry.
Get rid of these. So my checkout, like the screen looked wonky. I had to use PayPal. Then they just emailed me a Steam code, and the Steam code just happened to work. I don't know. It just felt like it felt like I bought a code off eBay or something. So there was no chance for me to get a refund. I needed this game to just run for me in it, and luckily it did. But there's been nothing else to talk about gaming news wise either. So it's just been consuming like every podcast I've been listening to. And it's a bummer because there's a lot of people saying, there's Scott Johnson, Jeff Gerstmann, Dan Reichert are the three names that are coming to mind that read about all these PC issues, but played the game on PC and are like me and didn't have any of these issues.
Yeah.
Other than being locked at 30 frames. But I think I got lucky because my graphics card, getting back to what I was saying, my graphics card is now the minimum requirement, so I'm on the low end of what the game's supposed to handle. But I think because my card was named specifically, I just got lucky that it was kind of validated on that particular graphics card. So,
time to upgrade, man.
Sadly, it's getting to be the time. But now they
980 Ti.
No, I was just gonna say, now they released the 980 Ti. You know that Nvidia is on the brink of probably a next generation of graphics cards. And didn't AMD just come out with a 300 and something series?
Yeah, I forget what they're calling their stuff. They have this new system where they're stacking the RAM and it's making the card smaller, and it's a shorter distance for everything to travel. So apparently it's like the clock speeds and everything are much lower. Like in their latest card that's equivalent to a 980 Ti, right? Mm-hmm. Or similar. It's just a little slower, but it's actually smaller and clocked much lower.
Oh.
So if you get a card that's like, clocked higher and using this like stacking RAM setup, it could be crazy. Like a lot of it is just wild in the sense that you can save on power, right? But the other thing is, with the card being so small, you have so much more room to add other stuff. like if you're AMD in your big flagship card, you put liquid cooling on it.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Well, I think one of the... They're called like Furies or something like that, right? The AMD ones.
I think so. Yeah.
One of them came like with a stock water cooler installed, which I thought was pretty rad. So yeah, I guess that's all I'll say about Batman.
Let me ask you this one thing
Sure.
before I go. So you beat it, and I know there are multiple endings, but throughout playing the story, does it hold up to City and Asylum? I mean, is it a really good narrative? Is there a really good payoff to finding out the Arkham Knight's identity and why Scarecrow is doing this thing?
Well, Scarecrow is just a dick, so that's why. I mean, we all know that.
Yeah.
He just wants control of the world. The Arkham Knight payoff for me was cool. I don't know anything about Batman, so...
Well, I mean, this is totally new for the game series, the Arkham Knight.
That's what they said.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll just pretend it was all new. Apparently, it's not.
Oh, okay.
The story's kind of been done before. It wasn't called Arkham Knight or something like that. So it's relatively predictable, I guess, what happens based on what's in the game. But there were definitely some story points that I thought were really well done and really cool. I don't think that it's any secret. A lot of people are aware that the Joker is in this game, even though he's dead, or he was killed in Arkham City. Was it Arkham City that he died?
Yeah.
The Joker's in this game, and it is done, I think, just brilliantly.
I will say, yes, I saw some of that.
I really enjoyed that. I just loved it. I really liked the characters that I was real familiar with. I really like how they incorporated them into the story. There were certain instances where I got assistance from a character that I wasn't expecting at all, and worked out to be really, really fun to play with them. There's not quite as big of a reveal as the Joker dying or anything like that, but it's kind of close to that, or at least it felt that way. So, I mean, from a story perspective, I really liked it a lot, and there was some really cool use of characters I was familiar with. There's characters I wasn't familiar with that I asked other people about, and they're like, oh, yeah, I really like that character, and it seems like they did a really good job of staying relatively consistent with the way these characters are. Sometimes characters are really arrogant and kind of dicks, and they stayed really true to that, whether it's a good guy or a bad guy. There were things that I picked up in the Nolan movies that related to helping me understand one of the characters in this game. So from that perspective, I really liked that stuff.
Cool. Yeah, I'll get to it eventually.
So
I have to play before end of the year.
Yeah, I would recommend it, man. I'd go back, and it took me maybe 16, 17 hours to play through the whole main quest. And that's, you know, I'm not a very good, especially with modern games, I'm just not very good. I'm slow pace and kind of clunky and stuff, and it takes me a few tries to get through stuff that it doesn't take other people time to get through. So, yeah, I don't know. I think you'd probably be able to beat it in less than that amount of time. So it's not a huge time sink for you to jump back into it and finish it up.
Yeah,
I don't think
what you're
it
telling me
would
is if I quit playing Bloodborne and Witcher and stuff, I could have it beat by tomorrow.
I mean, yeah.
Stay up all night.
I was just going to say, go get a 6-pack and start playing.
Yeah.
So,
that sounds all right.
So, yeah, man. Well, I have a favor to ask of you.
Yeah.
Would you mind... You could
Leaving my
just
Skype?
leaving your Skype on,
Yeah.
and just... You could turn your webcam off and mute it and just leave Skype on, and then it'll disconnect the call at the end. That would be an enormous help from an editing standpoint for me.
I got it. I got you, man.
I can't hang up on you, though.
I know. Well, I'll mute myself and I'll cut out.
So,
But,
well, thanks for joining, man. Always a pleasure.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, guys. See you all next time.
Yep.
All right.
The
Have a
old
good night,
dusty
dude.
trail.
Yeah.
All right, later, guys.
See you, dude. Let's see how... Boom. And it didn't affect anything. So it's just you and me, Dustin. So,
Yep.
I had so much to say about Batman. I wanted to try to jump in and get you more involved up front, but I just couldn't help but go off on a little bit of a tangent there. Or rant, I should say, not a tangent. So, I don't know, man. What's been new with you? Job search still? A job search?
Yeah, I got one good lead going on.
Nice.
So we'll see how that pans out.
Cool. Any other vacations coming up?
Nope.
I was sort of thrown off at the beginning. It's been a couple weeks since I've talked to you, really. So I wanted to catch up, and with the way the show started out, it was like, oh man, I'm flustered right now. I can't direct this. But everything's all good.
Yep.
Solomon's still playing with Mega Man.
Yeah, he's been a little more interested in video games. I think he's about to start getting the concept of like having to move with his left hand and jump with his right hand, or shoot with his right hand.
Is he just at the point now where he's almost amazed at being able to move stuff on the screen, or he gets enjoyment out of just making something happen that he knew he controlled?
Yeah, basically he likes knowing that he can do stuff. But he's gotten more to where he'll be playing something and he'll ask me to do something, and he'll ask for the controller back. Like he's trying to see me play it, and then he tries to like replicate what I do.
Oh, okay. That's cool though.
Yeah,
kids are amazing like that. They're just sponges at that age.
Yeah,
that's cool, man. So game wise, you've been playing a lot, and you got a nice mix here. You got some retro stuff, you got some current stuff, crap that you've already played.
Almost all of it's crap I've already played.
So yeah, man, what's gaming wise? What have you been up to?
So I beat Kingsfield finally, and that game was all right. I got to the point where I knew I was almost done, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to finish everything. I was just like, man, I'm just going to beat this and get it over with.
Yeah.
It ended up being about 10 episodes, and I have 6 episodes already rendered. I just have to upload them at some point. I was putting that off until our data usage like rolled over to the next month.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to see what that does. I'm assuming it's going to be like if I have a 10 gig video, uploading it is going to cost me 10 gigs worth of data. I'm assuming. I don't know. I'll see how it works.
I think that's a logical conclusion to make. It probably doesn't work that way. But
Yeah.
you'd think it does.
Yeah. With my luck, it'll be like 3 times that much.
Yeah, they'll be like, oh, that was an upload. You're penalized times 3. Yeah.
But yeah, I beat Kingsfield, and I'll eventually get that series uploaded. And Father's Day came and went, and I went to my local game store and I picked up 2 games.
Okay.
I spent like $16. I picked up Metal Gear Solid 4, and I played through that again, and I didn't enjoy it as much as I did the first time I played through it. Like, it didn't grab me the first time. It didn't grab me the way it did the first time. I'm not sure why. I think maybe because I knew what was coming.
Okay. Well, sometimes that can make it better because you start to catch clues that they gave you going on throughout the game that you didn't catch the first time around. But
And I thought of you while I was playing it because I was coming up on probably the biggest exposition dump of the series.
okay.
And it was a cutscene that lasted for 24 minutes.
Holy shit.
I was like, man, Scott would never make it through this.
No.
Like, I went and I made popcorn before I started the cutscene. So I was sitting there eating popcorn, watching that.
I mean, that's like going back and rewatching like an old cartoon from when you were a kid. Those are like 22,
probably
23 minutes.
2 or 3 minutes longer than those.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did eventually beat that, and
What system did you play on? PS3?
yeah,
Okay.
PS3. It's exclusive to that, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's been some Metal Gear stuff that's come out on Xbox 360, right? Just not the solid. Like, didn't Revengeance or something like that come out on it? Or
Revengeance and Ground Zeroes did, yeah.
Okay. Oh, Ground Zeroes even?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought that was an exclusive to PS4.
No, I think that was everything, even PC.
Yeah, I did see that recently it was on PC. I almost picked it up at the Steam sale because it was down to like $5.
Oh, you didn't?
Hmm. Well, okay. Now, you're fair to shake your head at me. But at that time, my buddy had just moved in, so I figured, and he had just downloaded the game, so I figured we might co-op our way through it on his PS4.
Mm-hmm.
And then that just never came to fruition. He ended up getting Mortal Kombat 10, or Mortal Kombat X. And that pretty much took up all of our co-op time on PS4.
Yeah.
So
I can't judge you too much. I didn't buy anything on the Steam sale, so.
I don't think I did either.
Man.
I've got like I'm not going to pull it up now. Oh, it is open. I have 208 games in my library.
Yeah, I have like 105 or something, or 150.
It's just ridiculous. Like, back when we used to get review copies of stuff, I got a bunch of those. I bought like the first 15 Humble Bundles, regardless of what was in it. Yeah. I've had stuff gifted to me, so yeah, it's I've got a shitload of games there. So yeah, so it's easy for me to pass on a Steam sale. Like, it's got to be something I really want to play.
Yeah. Other than that, I beat Danmaku Unlimited 2 on easy.
Is this a shoot 'em up or something?
Yeah, it's a bullet hell shoot 'em up on the iPad. I mean, I think it's on a bunch of other stuff, but I was
really
on it on my iPad too.
Let's see if it's on Android. Was it fun?
Yeah, it was really fun. I was playing it, and it's a real good idea to go through the tutorial, because there are things that affect your score that if you don't go through the tutorial, you'll never know. Because I was playing it, and I think my highest score was like 10 million.
Okay.
And
that's also a great game.
Yeah. I figured out how to do this move that will give you like all these other orbs and give you a multiplier. And
dude, this is gorgeous looking.
Oh yeah. Oh, wait till you hear the soundtrack. It's amazing.
I will be buying that. Or there's a light version, so I'm guessing it's ad supported. So I think it's free. Cool. So I'll be trying that on the tablet tonight.
But yeah, if you automatically fire, and you move with your thumb or your finger or whatever, mm-hmm. and if you fill up this gauge, if you swipe down, it'll shoot this laser directly in front of you that will increase your multiplier. So like I was dying, and my high score was 10 million. I figured out how to do that, and when I'm up in like the hundreds of millions. Oh wow! So yeah, it greatly increased my my score.
And you said the soundtrack's good. Is the sound design good outside of just the music? Like, really satisfying explosions, and like, do the bullet sounds, are those cool, or have you not really paid attention to that aspect?
The way that the audio is set up to begin with, everything is really low compared to the music. Oh, okay. Especially the shooting. You don't want the shooting to be too loud anyway, because it is constant. You are always shooting. Okay. So if it was annoying, then it'd drive you nuts.
It'd be like when Link is down to 1 heart on steroids.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I beat that on easy, and I tried to play it on normal, and I got like to the 2nd or 3rd stage. I think there's maybe 5 total. So it's going to take some practice if I'm going to do anything on normal, but it goes all the way up to extreme. So wow, that's one of those like crazy, like you see YouTube videos of Japanese kids.
I was just going to say some dude over in some Asian country just going nuts.
You have to be so good it looks like it's tool assisted or something.
Yeah.
But I also started 2 other series for YouTube, which again I haven't yet uploaded, and that was Castlevania Symphony of the Night and Dead Space.
Now, Dead Space, I won't watch those because that's on my to-do list to play.
Oh, okay.
Because I even though I'm a wimp with scary stuff, I've been told by too many people that Dead Space is really good, so we'll be playing that.
I love that game. It's incredible.
Now, Symphony of the Night, My understanding is the joy in that game comes from the leveling up, the combat, all that kind of stuff. That's not really spoiler horrific or whatever. So I'll watch your playthrough of that for sure. Like, I'm pretty excited to hear that you're doing that for YouTube.
But I'm actually playing the like tinkering. It's not a remake. They went in and changed a few things and put it in the PSP version, the Dracula X Chronicles.
Mm-hmm.
But it has like a rewritten script, redone voice acting.
Does that kind of bum you out that you don't get the What is a Man stuff?
No, not really. I mean, I still have my old copy behind me. I have like 4 different copies of the original, so I can play that at any time.
Gotcha.
I think I've only played through the PSP version once. So.
And what platform are you playing this on now? The PSP? Okay.
Yeah.
That's right, 'cause you talked about that last episode, and you can record stuff. How are the graphics? Do they look pretty much exactly like they did on PS1?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. You and your handhelds, man. You love them.
Yeah. Well, when I can hook them up to the TV, I love them. So yeah, Dead Space is great. Everybody should play it. I'll go ahead and talk about Worms. I went to a buddy's house just for like dinner, and his 6-year-old was playing Worms 2 Armageddon on the PS3, and we played a couple of rounds of that, and it was really fun.
Yeah, Worms.
Have you ever played a Worms game?
I have on Wii.
Man. It's super fun. First, I played against Andrew, which is his 6-year-old, and I won against him, but it wasn't entirely my fault because I didn't, like, even by the end of the second round, I didn't fully grasp what I was doing. Like, it's actually pretty hard to like aim and get the like the momentum right.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of times where like there would be like a pixel of like land in front of me, and I would try to shoot a rocket at him, and I'd shoot the land directly in front of me and kill myself.
Yeah.
Or I'd go to like the jump button is the square button, which is weird for me. So I would like go to use a weapon, and I'd hit the square button and like jump off to my death and lose a turn. But I beat the 6-year-old the first time, and then it was him, my buddy, his dad, and myself playing, and he ended up winning. Like, I died first because I was playing horribly, and then it was him and his dad, and I think it was like they both had one worm left, and Aaron, my buddy, was up on top of this map, and his son Drew was down here, and he Drew threw a grenade all the way up the map, and it landed directly beside Aaron,
so he was toast.
And blew up and killed him. It was awesome.
That's cool.
I came home and I wanted to download it, but it's still like $15 on PSN. So
yeah.
I was like, well, screw that. But I will pick that up at some point because it's. I think that would be a really fun party game for not. You want to get pseudo gamers in there to play, like somebody who knows their way around like a DualShock or whatever controller you're using.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be as friendly as like a Jackbox, but
Yeah.
I think it would be a pretty good party game.
Yeah, I've played it in groups before, and it's been pretty fun. My cousins were real into it, and they had it on their Wii, and we played it a couple years ago when we were in Myrtle Beach.
Mm.
They were at the beach playing video games.
That's what you do at the beach, right?
That's what you do.
And lastly, I was the other game I picked up at the game store is called Conquest of the Crystal Palace.
I've never heard of this one.
Me either, and that's why I picked it up.
Oh, cool.
I was going through their NES games, and I saw that, and I was like, I've never heard of this game. So I picked it up, and it was $10. And I was like, well, okay, let me look this up, see what kind of game it is. And I YouTubed it, and the first one that came up was a Gaming Historian
Oh, okay.
episode. So if you really want to, he of course goes into super in depth and does a really good job if you want to see what this game's all about. But I saw that video and I was listening to it to make sure that it wasn't like him just saying, "Hey, this game's horrible. I just want to talk about it." But no, it's a good game.
Oh, cool.
So I picked it up for $10 and I've been playing it, and it's great. It's really it came out in '90, but it's surprisingly well programmed for a game that came out that early.
I don't know. I mean, Famicom came out in what, like 85 or so, and maybe the NES came out in 86 here.
Yeah,
So it's a couple years in. It was like halfway through the life cycle.
like from like 91 on, I would expect like super good games.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think this was just an outlier as far as quality goes. But it does some a few weird things with the controls. Like you have options as far as offense. Like you can. It's a side-scrolling platformer to give you guys an idea of what kind of game it is, and you can choose different weapons, and you choose them by pushing down an A. Yeah, so that's a little weird. Like, it took me a while to get used to that because I didn't get an instruction manual or anything with it. It was just the card itself. But it was one of those where, like, okay, I'm going to play this just to make sure it works, and I ended up playing it for like an hour or so because
nice.
it was so good. And it's difficult. It's really difficult. So, but in a good way.
I was going to say, it's an NES game.
Yeah.
Pretty much all the good games on the NES are pretty tough.
Yeah, but Norm, the gaming historian on YouTube, if you want to see a really good video about this game.
Awesome. Yeah, I will check that out. I bet I've seen it before. I feel like I've watched almost all of his videos. So I'm sure that I'll go back and watch his video and go, oh, yeah, this game. And I just forgot the name of it.
I think that video is like a few months old of his.
Okay.
So probably so.
Yeah, I've probably seen it then. Cool, man. Well, I got dicked over by PSN or PS Plus.
No.
It was freaking auto renew, and I didn't know that I was on auto renew.
Uh-huh.
I haven't turned on my. I think I've turned on my PS3 once in the last 6 months, maybe twice, and once was to accept a friend invite from Mike, just purely to accept it. So I've got PlayStation Plus. So you were talking about having some. I know this is kind of a long episode right now. We'll get to some of the games here when we get to news. But you said there's some good games before recording coming up for PS Plus?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see. We're getting 6, 4 of which play on PlayStation 4. We're getting a game called Rocket League, which I'm not familiar with. I think it's a new release.
Okay.
Styx, Master of Shadows, Mousecraft, Entwined, which was actually on that was an E3 thing last year, not this year, but last year.
Okay.
Those 4 will be available for PS4, Wait.
Is PS3 getting anything?
PS4. PS3, you're getting. Let's see. Mousecraft plays on PS3. Entwined plays on PS3, and a game called Rain is specific to PS3.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And then for PS Vita, you can pick up Geometry Wars 3. That's specific to Vita, but Entwined
awesome.
And Mousecraft both play on Vita.
Dual stick shooter on the Vita. I bet that's fun.
Yeah.
I
wonder if that'll be Vita TV compatible.
Maybe.
I need to pick up one of those. Was it Zarek that sent us the link to or was it Demez? Somebody sent us a link to the DHCP stripper.
Dumbass.
Okay. I still need to pick one of those up.
So, cool, man. Yeah, I've talked a lot about Arkham Knight, so I won't get into that. But I've been playing a lot of that recently. I've been playing Mortal Kombat X, which I talked about a little bit earlier. There's not really a lot to say, to be honest with you. It looks great. Plays fast, has a solid frame rate. I want to say that it's locked at 60. Did you ever play Injustice by chance? Gods Among Us?
Not yet.
It's a lot like that. A lot like that.
I bet have you played Mortal Kombat 9?
No.
Okay,
But
I bet they're similar.
I've heard Injustice and Mortal Kombat 9. I think that they're made on the same engine even.
Okay.
But I don't know. Like, even though they're really similar, there's there's something that I can't quite put my finger on that makes me really enjoy Mortal Kombat X more than Injustice.
Cool.
If I have the choice, I'm going to play Mortal Kombat 10 or Mortal Kombat X every time over Injustice. Also, my buddy and I were bored, having a few beers, and just threw on some Mount Your Friends. You ever played this game with anybody?
No.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I've heard people talk about it.
Yeah, it's just... It's hard to explain, but you're this little guy, and your X, A, Y, and B buttons control one of your extremities, and you have to keep climbing up old versions of yourself to progress on your turn. Like, I don't know, if you want a cool co-op game that's cheap, look for Mount Your Friends, and if you have any interest in checking out the specifics, do a Google search for Mount Your Friends Giant Bomb. They've played it quite a few times on their site, and it just shows how much fun is in the game. I'm trying to think. So I got screwed over by not screwed over, but I feel like Sony stole $50 from me. Now I'm more likely to get a PS4 over the next 12 months because I'll have PSN. Let's see. I haven't really played any old stuff in a while, so I guess we can kind of move on to news real quick. Then we'll do some our YouTube comments from last episode and call it a show.
Sounds good.
So the first thing, I'm going to delete a lot of this news. We're not going to cover it because we kind of tangentially have covered most of it anyways. But the big thing that stood out to me, I know, Dustin, you're not a big fan of Pat the NES Punk, but he's got a co-host.
Just so I can clarify, I like his reviews. I hate anytime someone takes video of them going through a flea market.
Okay.
Like, that's not specific to Pat. It's any idiot that films himself shopping at a flea market. I want to punch.
Okay. I will keep you away from the Game Chasers then.
Yeah.
I
Game Chasers.
I love them. That's so funny that you're like, screw that. Don't worry, they were guests on our show before you came around. It's no love lost there. So I'm listening to their podcast. The one guy, Ian Ferguson, I really like a lot. And so they started talking about Mega Man Legacy, right? And it looks like there's going to be some added features and stuff, save states, things like that. But they were saying that they saw reports that it's only going to cost about $15.
That's not too bad.
Remember how we were assuming it would be $30 or $40?
Mm-hmm.
So now at half price, I'm on board. Let them release it without any complaints. And also, I heard that they aren't just releasing an emulator, that they are actually reprogramming the games. So I'm assuming that means that you're not gonna have like an HDification. It's still gonna be the same resolution, but I don't think you're gonna have a lot of the slowdown and stuff that you get with the other Mega Man games on the NES on the real hardware. So it's interesting. I just wanted to get your thoughts on it being $15 versus the 30 or 40 we thought it would be.
That's better because for what, 15, you can't even get, you're getting 6 games for $15, whereas you can do that anywhere else, like on the virtual console or anything.
Exactly.
So that's a pretty good deal.
It came across as a really good value. So I forget the platforms it's coming out for, but it seems like quite a few, which is awesome. Yeah.
Maybe they'll keep doing these legacies and like go through all of the series, and then they'll have like a legacy collection.
That'd be fine. You know, if they're gonna, for basically $3 a pop, if they're gonna be selling me NES games at $3 a piece for a digital copy, or I can get a cart with all of them on it, and I can feel good about, not using an emulator or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for it. I mean, $3 is a great price for any of those Mega Man games.
Yeah.
So that $15 price point really kind of turned me around on the Mega Man Legacy Collection coming out. Something else that stuck out to me this week was, or over the last week, was all the Destiny stuff. Have you followed this much?
I heard there was like a $40 Destiny expansion.
Yeah, there's like a $40 expansion coming out, which the last two I think were $20 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
So this one's 40, but there's something with like it's like a skin or a shader and the ability to do 3 new dances or something like that. If you want the ability to get this full expansion and the dances and these shaders, these extra things, it'll cost you about $80 because you have to rebuy everything. Or at least that was the initial report. Maybe Bungie has come back on that a little bit. But when it first came out, the Taken King to get everything means you'd have to rebuy the game, rebuy the 2 expansions, and then buy this new expansion. I didn't know exactly how it worked, but in the show notes I'll have a link to the Kotaku story that I've got here. It shows that it would basically be an $80 expansion, which is nuts because the game sells for $40 right now. And any scenario where you might have to rebuy something that you already own is just completely unacceptable.
Yeah.
And they also have a new thing where they've got an exclusive quest with Red Bull. So much like Call of Duty, I think it was Call of Duty that did like or maybe it was Halo that did the bonus XP if you had Mountain Dew cans or whatever. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
People are going to be out there buying Red Bull to get extra game content. Just weird. Real world product tie-in like that, and like not just an advertisement, but I don't know.
That's so weird. What are they doing?
It is weird. And what if you go to? Okay, so let's say that it's a good deal. A can of Red Bull is what, $3?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say that this quest is a lot of fun, and it's only $3 to play. If you're gonna give me a good hour or two of content, $3 is totally worth it for me. And what if you're in a scenario where you go to the store or the gas station or what have you, and they have Red Bull, they just don't have the right Red Bull? Like, what if the shipments the Destiny shipments aren't in yet? So the expansion's out, but you can't find any of the damn Red Bull with the token in it.
Because they had like 5 pallets of old Red Bull back there that they're trying to get rid of first.
Exactly. Yeah. It's going to happen to somebody.
Yeah, totally.
And so you're going to start seeing on Reddit, people go like crazy amiibo hunting.
Yeah.
You'll see people like posting like what Walmarts are carrying the Destiny expansion Red Bull and shit like that. So I don't know. It was just a weird product tie-in. Like, I understand why they do it, but it just seemed a little strange for me to have it not give you a boost, but to actually unlock some story stuff or a quest, because you might not be able to get it. And if it's an exclusive to Red Bull, or if you're out in the middle of nowhere, I don't know. It was just strange to have a quest behind a paywall that you might not have access to.
Yeah, and I don't see, like, they don't have big displays of Red Bull. People don't buy Red Bull like they buy other sodas.
Correct.
Not around here, at least.
Not where I'm at either. Real popular around here is Monsters.
Man, that's weird.
So, yeah. Also, just wanted to make a quick note. My biggest disappointment from E3 was the lack of VR coverage on the stages and whatnot. But hearing all the giant bomb stuff, hearing them talk about VR really made me relieved. Everyone seemed to be on board with it. It seems like a really cool thing. I'm really excited to have an opportunity to play one of these, either the Vive or the Oculus or something like that. I'm really, really looking forward to that experience.
Yeah, I'm wondering how much what's PlayStation's Morpheus?
Yeah.
I wonder how much that's going to be, because I heard them talking about it and saying it looked good.
Mm-hmm. Probably $300 or $400. just like the other ones. It's a lot, but the hype is so strong with me that I can't help but be tempted to really want to dive into VR.
Yeah.
Like I was saying a couple weeks ago, though, I'm really nervous about that price tag. I'm just not sure I'm going to have the extra coin laying around because it might end up costing, $300 or $400 for the actual stuff, and then if I need to upgrade my video card, then I'm kind of stuck. So,
yeah, that's the only good thing I'm thinking about with the Morpheus is I know it'll work.
Yeah, exactly.
With my current hardware, even though it might not be the best VR experience.
See, and I'll want that the best possible when it comes out. Like when I take the dive in, and none of my non-internet friends are into PC gaming the way that I am now, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of early adoption amongst my friends when it comes to VR. So it's not like I'll be able to experience it at one of my buddies. I'm just going to have to pony up and get it myself. I did want to make one quick note. This is kind of in the news. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, is going to play a part in a Rampage movie. It was on Polygon. I heard other people talk about it. It's just strange.
I'll watch that. I like The Rock.
I can't say that I dislike The Rock, but I definitely don't like him. Whereas I'm not going to go watch a movie because The Rock's in it. But I won't not. It's not like Nicolas Cage. It's not like, you know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, Nick Cage is in it. This is going to be crap. Even though I did like The Weatherman. Like he's got, and I'm also sick of The Rock because of HBO. So before like every John Oliver episode or every Game of Thrones or Silicon Valley, they would play this ad for a new show on HBO called Ballers, and it stars The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
And it just looks so corny. It takes place. I think he's like a financial advisor for NFL players. Is the premise. So it's kind of like Entourage meets, I don't know, that old HBO show Artie or whatever. What was that? What the hell was that called? Arliss. I think that's what it was. But anyways, yeah. So I just thought that was interesting. Wanted to bring it up. Again, some of this news is pretty stale, and people have already been talking about it. And before we jump into the last PlayStation Plus things and get to news, Dustin, I have some clarification on Windows 10.
Okay.
So, you know how it really started to sound like if you had Windows 7 or Windows 8 and it wasn't a genuine version, that they'd allow you to upgrade for free?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, what they're doing right now is that's not necessarily the case. However, it's an open beta, Windows 10. So it comes out in 28 days from when we're recording this. Today is July 1st. And if you sign up for the Windows Insider program, which is free to do, you'll get Windows 10 for free when it comes out.
Huh.
So you can sign up for the Insider program and download Windows 10 right now, install it, and you'll be good to go. And then when it comes time for the switch to be flipped, you're going to get to keep your Windows 10 copy as long as you stay a part of the Insider program.
Cool.
So if you don't have Windows 10, you are going to be able to get it for free at least for the next month or so, which I thought was pretty cool. I texted Mike T right away when I got some clarification on that. I'm like, oh my God, we finally got some clarification. You can go ahead and sign up for this and install Windows 10. It'll be great for you. So you have some PlayStation Plus news here.
Yes. It kind of snuck up on me, but PlayStation Plus Drive Club is finally a thing.
I thought that was just never going to come to fruition.
Yeah. I was reading. What was I doing? I was trying to find the. This is a couple of days ago. I was trying to find the July PS Plus games.
Okay.
And I noticed in an article it said, PS Plus Drive Club came out 6 days ago. And I was like, what? So I went on my PS4 and checked it out, and yeah, I went ahead and downloaded it. I hadn't touched it yet.
Okay.
But it like a year later, 2 years later, wasn't it supposed to be a launch title?
Thing. Yeah.
Man. Yeah, they finally made good on it.
Okay. Well, good for them. Hopefully it runs okay.
Speaking of which, PlayStation Plus is now 5 years old, and when I went to download Drive Club, my hard drive was full.
So, are you considering a hard drive upgrade, or are you just going to manage your downloads?
Right now, I'm just managing my downloads, but I'd really like to throw in like a terabyte hard drive. Mm-hmm. It don't even have to be like an SSD or anything. But I still had I was looking through and I had Watch Dogs was still installed. Killzone Shadowfall was still installed, so I deleted those.
And that's got to be 30 or 40 gigs right there that you freed up.
Yeah, it was quite a bit. So it made a lot of room for Drive Club. I also have to go through and play all those PlayStation Plus games that I've downloaded and then forgotten about.
Yeah. I don't know. It's got to feel good, though, that you're clearly using the system. You spend $400 or $500 at launch on the thing, getting controllers and games and all that kind of stuff. So it's not like it's sitting there collecting dust.
No.
Which it would be for me if I got one. But now I'm tempted because I have stupid PlayStation Plus. Which is a great deal, but they don't do much for PS3 anymore. To really take advantage, you need your PS4. So
yeah.
All right, man. Well, that's it for news for me. Do you have anything else that you wanted to add?
Nope.
Okay. Well, let's read some YouTube comments from last episode and call it a show. We've managed to have a long one this week. Do you want to go over? Do you want to read Zarek's stuff, or do you want to read Demez's comments?
I'll read Zarek.
Okay. He edited this a lot, so I would still read the stricken out parts.
You want me to?
It's not like he said any. The edits don't quite make sense if you don't read the stricken out part.
Oh yeah, that's a good call. Yeah.
So just let him know which 3 paragraphs are going to be redacted or whatever.
Yeah. All right, so this is from Zarek. He said, I lost my mind when I saw Final Fantasy VII Remake. I must have looked like a teenage girl at a Justin Bieber concert. Now we just have to hope Enix doesn't mess it up too much.
I bet he started. I'm picturing one single cat tear when the theme song kind of chimed in. When you watch that trailer or whatever, he's just oh my god. So okay, sorry.
That trailer did look awesome.
It did. It looked really cool.
Okay, and then he says, edit, I crossed out the below information. Some of it is still relevant, but I've done some more research. And he says, I didn't back Shenmue, but I do have some stuff to say about it. There are a lot of false rumors going around about the Kickstarter. I'm going to have to make a video about this one. One of the biggest false rumors is people claim they hid the fact that they had other backers. From the Kickstarter, no, we cannot make an open world game for $2 million. Shenmue will be produced using both the funds raised from the Kickstarter and through other funding sources already secured by EaseNet Incorporated. We are very sorry, but due to contractual obligations, details of outside investments will not be disclosed. And then he says, come on now, even a small child can add 1+1. Sony announces Shenmue Kickstarter. It has a mysterious unnamed backer. This game wouldn't have been made if the Kickstarter went poorly. The people who backed it are getting the game. People need to just chill out. It's not like the people that funded it are getting nothing. And that's the end of his redacted statements. And he goes into the edited stuff. He says, the $70 million thing is apparently a lie. A couple of years ago, it came out that it only cost $47 million. The $47 million was divided between the development of 3 games. The first game was the Sega Saturn version of Shenmue that was in development for 4 years and canceled, as well as Shenmue 1 and 2. They reworked what assets they could into the Dreamcast version. They will also be using the Unreal 4 engine instead of making their own.
That's pretty cool. That's smart. The Unreal 4 engine looks really neat. Did you happen to... Sorry to jump in. Did you happen to see the Super Mario in Unreal 4?
No, wait. No, I saw it in Unity. I hadn't seen it.
Yeah, okay. This is just like a demo. I'll send a link to you after the show.
Okay.
Pretty cool.
And then his last edit comment, he says, I've also heard Sony will only be backing the advertising of the game. Apparently they believe the game would be too much of a financial risk. The game would not exist without Kickstarter. Then he goes on to say, if I had the cash, I would have had my avatar be in the game for sure. There was one where you could be painting on the wall. I'm glad you guys like my avatar so much. I don't ever plan on changing it.
Could you imagine if Zarek's avatar was painting on the wall in Shenmue? That would be so
How much
sweet.
longer does the Shenmue Kickstarter have? Let's see here. Real quick, 16 days to go.
What's
if we can do like
at?
a 14-day Kickstarter to kickstart Zarek getting his like enough to get his painting in there,
we'll have to do it. We'll have to do it now because it'll take 2 or 3 days to review.
Yeah,
we'll do it right after the show. So yeah, that great comment.
Yeah, totally.
Shenmue stuff's great. I'm really happy for the Shenmue fans. It's not something I'm interested in personally, but I'm very happy for them. So Zarek, yeah, thank you very much. Hopefully you've had a day off of work. I know it's been since like March. I don't know how he works that much and still puts up cool YouTube stuff. That's awesome. So, and then our good buddy Demez writes in, and he has a technical criticism of the show. Dustin is way too loud, and Scott is way too quiet. And there was no way to turn the volume up so we could hear both clearly.
That's a bummer. I hate it when podcasts do that.
Yeah, so sorry about that. Yeah.
And you talked about that, right? You think you're...
At the beginning of the show, I think we might have fixed it. So hopefully this is better this week. I did some software tweaks with the recording software. And then I had Dustin sit a little further away from the microphone. I'm sitting a little closer to the microphone. And I have this switch. I don't remember if I talked about it on the show or if it was before we started recording. But I have this switch that lowers the decibels of my microphone by 10.
Okay.
So if I had my mic on a stand like you do, I'd be able to get right up on it and not have it kind of peek out on me.
Mm-hmm.
But I like to have it a little further away from me because I move around a lot. I talk with my hands, and I'd bump it too much. I am still considering getting an arm like you've got, just to see how that works. If the audio doesn't get any better, I'll definitely have to try that out. Because it's like $20 or $30 on Amazon to get the podcast arm.
Yeah, I forget how much I spent for this. It wasn't very much at all.
Yeah, so I know you sent me a link to it in the past. So, Demez, keep commenting about any sort of audio qualities, good or bad, or any technical criticisms you have of the show. It's only going to help us get better. So, and then he also says, we have GTA 5 now. Why the fuck do we need Shenmue 3? It was groundbreaking and new for its time, but it's boring.
This drives me nuts.
What? Oh,
when your Wii U does that?
Yeah, it makes it look like a friend popped online and it's just an advertisement.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he also goes, he mentions that he thinks that it was groundbreaking at the time, but it looks boring. There's quick time events, clunky fighting, and loads of cutscenes. So, the old Shenmue games, I doubt have aged well. He also says the black burger in Japan is because squid ink is actually very healthy and delicious. According to people who eat it, is very tasty. And it's loaded with good nutrition. So remember how I was talking about a red burger last week? And they had a black one years ago? Oh, it was squid ink. You would think that Nintendo would have gotten on board with like a black burger with Splatoon and all that stuff with the Squid Kids.
No.
Demez also says that that Tavern Braun Ragnaros deck sucked versus the other one. The other one was 5 mana and so much easier to win. That's funny because I had an easier time winning with Ragnaros. So it's interesting. He says Boom Blocks. Did you remember me talking about Boom Blocks, that Wii game?
Mm-hmm.
He says Boom Blocks is motion controls done right. It's bloody awesome. Monkey Ball is also excellent motion control. I haven't played the Monkey Ball Wii version. I've only played the GameCube one. I hold my Wii remote down at my side so my arm does not get tired of holding it up. That's a smart idea. So, yeah, he just wanted to chime in, give us a little bit of information about the Black Burger in Japan, his thoughts on Tavern Brawl, and also comments about motion controls that were done correctly. So, and also, I really, again, do appreciate you giving us strong feedback as far as what we could do better with the show. Always like that stuff.
Totally.
So, at this point, Dustin, we have made it through another episode. So, I want to thank Mike T for jumping into the chat and giving us some stuff to talk about. I want to thank Zarek and Demez for commenting on our last episode. We really, really enjoy that stuff. I need to thank Ben Landis for letting us use his song as the intro. And this week, Dustin, I've got a song by 456. The song is called Cepheus, and it's awesome. Have you ever heard of the group Mastodon? Like really heavy metal?
Yeah.
So, this isn't like heavy metal, but there's something about the last half of this song that reminds me of heavy metal music, even though it's chiptune. Like, maybe it's the way he does the percussion or the arrangement. I don't know. But it just sounded like something I would hear from Mastodon if it was redone in chiptune. So I thought that was really cool. If you like the show, please give us a review wherever you listen to us, whether that's iTunes, whether that's Stitcher, or give us a thumbs up or whatever on SoundCloud. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, please give us a like and share the video. We really appreciate that. Also, if you're interested in following our news, you can find us on Twitter at Classic Elite, and our Facebook page is Classic Elite as well. If you want to watch us record the show, you're welcome to do so. We stream on Twitch. Now it's been Wednesdays recently. Maybe this winter we'll go back to Thursdays, but if Wednesdays work, we'll stick with that for as long as we can. And the best way to get to us on Twitch is twitch.tv/classic_elite. So hopefully you did enjoy this episode, and we will see you soon for episode 145.
Boosh.